Hello, we are Team 2 are also the painters, and this is our final project for web development. My name is Alex Castro,
And I'm Satvik Seeram.
and Team 2 has been doing some shopping for paintings, but we're quite displeased with a lot of the apps and websites related to that. So we've decided to make our own startup company where we desire to bring buyer and sellers alike under a single platform where they can buy and sell paintings of properties. And for this web project, we put a great emphasis on the buyer aspect of this startup idea. The objective is to have users able to create an account, log in, and shop for property paintings. And I am Alex Castro, and I did a lot of the backend for the registration and search APIs.
I'm Satvik Seeram. I worked on the front end using React.js and integrated the back end and front end together.
And Congqi worked on the painting tables and all related APIs. So the first step in this startup idea was to focus on the registration backend. So all new users to the site must register for an account in order to be able to interact with anything on the site. All registration function happens in the backend through Node.js. And then when the user is first prompted with the registration page, they're shown three input boxes that request for a username, an email address, and a password. And then once all that data is inputted, it will be stored in a database. And then after a successful insertion into the database, a JSON message will return informing the user of a successful registration. And then they will be sent over to the login page. But before that, we'll go over the code snippet for registration. So we have a function called create account, which is what is going to ask for the three parameters, the username, email, and password. And then once that's inputted, the password will be hashed, so it stays hidden into the database. And then the Prisma user.create is what is going to create that user into the database. And then once that user is created, a cookie will be set on that username and then they will be redirected. So here's a look at our database. It holds 4 columns, and here's a schema of what that looks like. We have a username, an email, a password, and then we also have a wish list. Now, once that user creates an account, they are redirected to a login page where they must enter their email and password. There is no way the user can bypass not entering their credentials. So after logging in, the first thing that's going to happen, it's going to check if there are any empty inputs, and then the user will be shown that an error message if any inputs were left empty. And then once those credentials are entered, uh, the first thing that's going to happen if no inputs were empty is that it's going to check if the password is a match in the database. And then if it is a match, the user will see a success message, and then they will also be directed to the home page. And then we'll have a look at the code snippet here. So the function login is going to ask for the parameters username and password. So once that user enters in those credentials, the Prisma user find unique function is going to go into the database and find that user. And then the same password bicrypt is going to also check if the inputted password matches the password of that user in the database. And if the passwords are the same, a cookie will be set, and then that user will be redirected to the home page. So after registration and login functionalities are done, the next step is working the search functionalities of the website. So when the user decides to search for a property paintings, there is a lot of things to consider in order to improve the quality of life of the user. Sometimes that user may wish to filter searches by rating or price. Sometimes a property painting is too long. So it's a nice feature to have if they can just partially search the name and then they still get the results they want. And that all happens through here. And we'll go a little more in depth in the next slide. So when discussing the filter functionality of our search backend, the user, as mentioned, can filter out searches. One of them is ratings. So some users don't have time to scroll through every single painting, and they just want to see the best rated ones. So next to that search bar, there is a filter option, and the user can select a min rating, and we'll see all properties greater than or equal to that user's rating input in the search filter function. And then another option that can be filtered out is prices. The user can customize prices in the filter box. Some users want to find property paintings greater than a certain price or less than a certain price, or they want to look inside some interval of price range. So that is able to happen. We have a min price setting and a max price setting to allow for easier searching. And then a nice touch is not needing to input the full name of a house to get full results. That's often time consuming and annoying. One house in our database is called Edgefield, and that could take a while to type, so you could just type ed and you'll still get all the data relating to that property painting.
So looking at the snippet over here, we see that when we're searching for painting, we send all paintings and we send the search filter parameter. And the search filter parameter basically has the input from the search box, the min price, the max price, and the rating. So looking at the if statement below, you see how if there's a search in the search filter, then we're gonna get the painting name that starts with the filter. And similarly for the min price, we're gonna do something like we'll filter it based on the painting price to be more than the min price from the search filter. And similarly, we do the same thing for the max price. And then looking down at the rating, if there's a rating in the search filter, then we filter out only the painting that have the rating which is given by the search filter, and then finally return the filter painting in the function.
So the user can see paintings properties, but how does that work? Well, all paintings are stored in a database table called paintings, and it contains 6 columns, and you can see a schema of that over to the right, and below is a snippet of what an entry of a painting looks like. So as mentioned, the painting table is made up of 6 columns: painting ID, name, rating, price, date, and image URL. Painting ID auto increments and is the primary key. Names are stored as varchar. Rating and prices are stored as integers. Date is just stored as date. And image URLs are stored in varchar. And image URLs is what actually shows the image of that property painting to the user.
So initially when you open the web page, you're gonna come up here to the sign up page. So in the sign up page, we have three input fields, one for the username, email, and the password. And after typing each of them, you can create an account that you want. And once you create an account, you'll be
Waiting for
directly.
Satvik.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And once you create an account, you'll be directly taken to the home page. Next slide. So here's the login page. Similar to the sign up page, I have two inputs over here. One is the username and the other one is the password. So after logging in over here, the backend is gonna set a cookie uh, for which we know so that we know which user is logged in after logging in, and logging in will redirect you to the home page. Mine or yours?
I think that's yours. Or
I think that was yours. Okay, anyway, let's continue. We'll trim this part out. So, the home page. After logging in or signing up an account, you're gonna come here to the login page. Where the login page, you see all the paintings, and it contains the search box and the filter dialog on the button next on the box next to the search box. So we have each card. So this is the homepage snippet over here. The entire paintings are managed by the use state filter paintings and set filter painting. We'll probably look into more of these two variables as we go along. But looking at the HTML below, you see how you have the search component and the display painting component. The search component handles all the searching thing, filtering, those kind of things, and then the display painting just displays all the paintings that are filtered. Next one. Previous. Yeah, so this is the homepage search box component, and looking at the default state over here, which has search empty string, min price 200, max price 1400, and rating of nothing. And looking down over here in the use effect, every time the search filter changes, right? I rerun the use effect where I search for the painting using the help of the search filters, and I set the set filtered painting function, which then triggers the re-render and re-renders the display component. So this is the painting page over here. Clicking on a painting on the home page will take you to the painting page, where you'll be able to view the metadata such as painting name, price, rating, date, and you'll also have an option to add it to your wish list or remove it from there. So painting code snippet. So I use the dynamic route over here. Basically, and then I get the painting ID from the route, and if the painting ID doesn't exist in the DB, I redirect you to 404. Or if it does, then I take you to the painting page where you can see all the metadata. And down here, I also did something like if the ID already exists in the user's wishlist, the logged in user wishlist, then I give them the option to remove it from there, or if it doesn't exist, then I give them an option to add it in there. So there's the wish list. You can access it from the home page, and which just basically stores all the houses that you were going to buy in the future. Yeah. So get wish list painting. Basically, what I do is I get the username from the cookie, and I find the user, and I get the user, and then I access the wish list of the user. And after I do that, I basically just get all the painting IDs, and then I need to get all the metadata for the painting IDs. So I call the Prisma thing again on the painting database using the painting ID, and then I return all of it together to the front end.
So when it comes to challenges faced in the back end, the biggest challenge I would say was just establishing a connection to the database in general. We've tried tools like PHP to create our database, and that gave many issues, such as either the table not being found despite it existing, or saying that the entire database in general doesn't exist even though it did. And other smaller issues faced in the backend was mainly with the search functionalities of the website. A lot of times it wasn't working as intended, and it took many tries to get it right. Some issues were like the name of paintings would be entered and you would get an error saying the painting is not recognized even though it was in the database, or you would get a search but you wouldn't get all the desired information relating to that painting.
So the challenges I faced on the front end, the biggest issue was the security because I was storing the section ID as a plain username, which anyone could pamper and then act as another logged in user. And the other issue I faced was managing the auth routes and the.
Okay, so I'm going to demo you real quick how our web page works. So when the user first uh, clicks the link to our page, they will be presented with a sign up form. There's three parameters: the username, the email, and the password. So let's create an account here real quick. We will call ourselves a Castro, just a Castro, and our email will be acastro@gmail.com. Then we will enter in our password, and then let's create an account here. And then we are successfully registered, and then we are taken directly to the home page. But let's log out real quick and show how the login functionality works. So we go by a Castro, and then let's type in our password, and then we are taken back to the home page as expected. But let's see how that looks like in the database. So here's our database. Here are all previously registered users. We refresh, and then we see there we are, a Castro. We see our email, and we see our password, which is hashed. And now that we are here, let's have a look at what actually goes on. So we have a bunch of paintings to choose from, but I don't really have time to look through all of this. Let's say I'm interested in Crest Ridge, and I see Crest Ridge, and I didn't even need to type the full name. I just type CRES and it shows up. I can even just CR and it still works. That's how the search box works. Let's have a look at how the filter box works. So we have a min price, a max price, and a ratings option. So let's set the min price. Let's say I have a budget of $6,000. So let's set a min price of around $5,000. And we see all houses that are $5,000 or more. But let's say Crest Ridge is just out of my budget. I'm $100 short. Let's do $6,000. And then we filter out Crest Ridge. That leaves us with Ridgeview and Estate. And let's reset our ratings here. Let's set this to a really high number and min price to 0. Let's say I have a budget of a lot of money. I could buy anything here, but I don't want to just buy anything. I want to buy a really good painting. So I only want paintings that are 4-star, let's say. And then we'll see all paintings here that have a 4-star rating. But let's say I want to look at the bad paintings for whatever reason. There's no 1-star ones, no 2-star ones, but we do have some 3-star ones. So we could see that it's pretty remarkable that we don't have 1 or 2-star ratings. But let's have a look at Chris Reg. So Chris Reg, as mentioned, is out of my budget, but I would really like to buy it someday, so I'll add it to my wish list. I come here, look at the wish list, I see it, and let's say for some reason I don't want to buy it anymore, so I'll remove it from my wish list. And then it's gone. We're home, and that is it for our demo. And I